Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm making a page for a challenge in Heather's Crafty Life August Scrap Party Patreon group. If you haven't checked her out, I'll link her below. She makes awesome pages. But the challenge was to make the focus of your layout be journaling. So my vision for this page is to cover that diagonal area with gesso and have that be my journaling spot. And I want it to be very flowy and neutral, so something that's maybe a little bit different from my typical bright colored layouts. It is kind of cool because it actually allowed me to break into one of the Vicki Boutin art crayon packs that I hadn't before, since I don't really use a lot of neutral colors. So I grabbed the beigeish color, the kind of peachy color, and a sort of magenta color, and I'm mixing all of those with a little bit of water, and I'm splattering them around the page, and as they splatter they pool, and then I just connect those little pools together to hopefully make an attractive watercolor area puddle thing-ish. If you've never used gesso before, I definitely recommend it. Mine dries particularly quickly, which I love. It helps provide a protective layer between your paint and the paper. Plus it helps that I have my trusty USB fan to my left, but really I love it because I see a lot of scrappers and artists have to sop up their excess paint with towels and such, and this actually allows me to bypass that. So there is a hot tip for you. I'm scrapping today a couple of photos of one of the most beautiful roses I've ever grown in my garden, and I want to create a lot of thick and lofty layers, so I bought a different sort of foam tape off of scrapbook.com. I believe it's from Sizzix, and it's only 1/2 inch thick, whereas my normal foam adhesive tape that I use is, I believe, 3/4 inch thick. I'm stacking my layers rather haphazardly, so if you're wondering if there's a rhyme or reason to it, other than I'm just trying to get certain colors to peek out of certain corners, there really isn't. It's my first time attempting something like this, so I'm just hoping that it looks relatively decent by time's end. I also want to create a bit of texture, so I think what I'm going to do is grab some of my Gutermann thread that I use for sewing and make little string ball clusters. I'm kind of late to the game on that trend, and at first, I didn't really like it. I kind of thought it looked a little like hair at the bottom of a drain of a bathtub, but for some reason I kind of like it now on certain pages. So I'm taking a beige color and sort of a tan color and putting them on opposite ends of my photo foundation layer. I started growing roses soon after my maternal grandmother passed away. I was very close with her, I absolutely adored her, but she grew roses for as long as I knew her. They were her absolute pride and joy. Everyone knew her for her rose growing skills, so growing them makes me feel like she's still with me. This rose bush has always sprouted yellow roses, and for some reason it sprouted this beautiful peach rose, which is weird because it actually coincides with the date of the anniversary of her death, which I'm sure is just a big coincidence, but anyways, because it's one of my pages, of course, I'm fussy blading this little title out as well. Roses were my very first plant that I planted actually in our backyard when we bought our home, but since then my supply has definitely increased, I would say, both indoor and outdoor plants. We do have a little mini homestead. We grow all sorts of fruits and vegetables, and then inside we have a lot of plants that help clean the air, or at least that's my excuse as to why we have so many plants inside. So from here I'm just assembling my clusters. I'm trying not to overdo it with color since I feel I already have a lot of splashes of color throughout the page. So I fussy bladed some flowers out. I'm excited to get to use some of my adhesive pearls in both white and brown. Brown to help carry through the color of my wooden table in the photos, and white, just because it spreads a little class in my opinion. So I'm also using some Amy Tangerine stickers to help carry through the black that I used in my layering. So from here, I just want to keep in mind that I don't want my clusters to be too large because I definitely want my primary focus to still be the journaling. But I also want to spread out the embellishments enough so I don't have any awkward spaces. So I think I'm going to tackle my pen work first. I'm going to do my little doodads, and then I'm going to write and write and write and then see what I'm left with. So I'm assembling this little corner cluster because it was looking a little empty, and I'm gluing these beautiful wood veneers from my friend Sandy's new shop, Scrapping Reflections. She has lots of fun stuff at more than reasonable prices, so please check her out. Just putting some finishing touches, and that's it. Thank you so much for stopping by. I very much appreciate your support. Leave me a comment, say hello, and I'll see you next time. Bye!